All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling ADP 3.0.
The Army's bread and butter when it comes to operations.
And while doctrine might not sound like the most thrilling topic,
Some might even say dry as a bone.
right, but understanding this, it's like having the cheat codes to success on any mission.
Think of it as the common language, the playbook, that ensures everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It's the foundation for every decision, every maneuver, and today we're breaking it down so you can dominate out there in the field.
We're diving into the core of it all, the operations structure.
Okay, so what are the building blocks of this structure?
3 primary components. You got your operations process, combat power.
And the ever-important operational framework.
You got it.
All right, so let's unpack this, starting with the operations process. Seems pretty self-explanatory, right? Plan, prepare, execute.
Well, it's a continuous cycle. Plan, prepare, execute, and then assess. Always assessing.
Right, because in the real world, things rarely go according to plan.
Exactly. Imagine you're on patrol, and suddenly you're facing unexpected enemy contact.
Things can change in a heartbeat.
Exactly. That neat cycle gets flipped on its head. You're planning on the fly, adapting in real time.
So how does the operations process help in those chaotic situations?
It's about flexibility, not rigidity. It gives you a framework to adjust, to make decisions quickly and effectively when the unexpected hits.
So you've got this adaptable plan, but to execute it, you need some serious muscle.
Enter combat power. What exactly falls under that umbrella?
Think of it as all the tools in your arsenal. We're talking personnel, intelligence, sustainment, and of course, firepower.
Because everyone loves a little firepower, but it's not just about brute force, is it? There's got to be a strategy to using those tools effectively.
We hit the nail on the head, and that's where warfighting functions come into play. They're the methods, the techniques commanders use to orchestrate all elements of combat power.
So if combat power is the orchestra, the warfighting functions are the conductor, making sure everything flows together harmoniously. I like that analogy. But even with the best orchestra and a talented conductor, you still need a shared understanding of the music. You need a plan. That's where the operational framework comes in.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What does that look like in action?
Imagine a large-scale operation. The operational framework allows commanders to visualize the entire battle space, figure out where to allocate resources, and coordinate efforts across multiple units, even across different countries.
So it's about seeing the big picture while understanding how each piece contributes to the overall objective.
Exactly. It's about avoiding confusion and ensuring everyone is moving in the same direction, working towards the same goal.
Which brings us to areas of operation.
The where of the operation.
Right, so that's fairly straightforward. It's where you're conducting operations. But I have a feeling there's more to it than just drawing a line on a map.
You bet there is.
Yeah.
You've got your main area of operations, your assigned battle space, but then there's the area of influence.
Which extends beyond your immediate control.
Exactly. Think of it like ripples in a pond. Your actions in one area can have significant consequences in surrounding areas.
Even if you're not directly engaged in combat there.
Precisely. And then you've got the area of interest, which is the widest lens.
The strategic level.
Absolutely. It's about anticipating those factors, those emerging threats or opportunities that might not be on your radar right now, but could impact your mission down the line.
It's about thinking 2-3 steps ahead.
Exactly. Understanding that the battlefield isn't static, it's dynamic, always changing.
So we've got these different areas, but how do we actually classify the types of operations happening within them?
That's where deep, close, support, and consolidation areas come in.
All right, so let's unpack those. Let's start with the deep area. What's happening there?
Think of the deep area as shaping the battlefield before the main fight. It's where you might go after enemy command posts or maybe disrupt their supply lines. You might conduct reconnaissance there, get a feel for their setup.
So you're softening the enemy up, disrupting their game plan before the main event, and then you've got the close area where things get, well, a little more up close and personal.
Exactly. You're talking direct firefights, flanking maneuvers, really going toe-to-toe with the enemy.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
No, sir. A good example of the close area is the Battle of Ia Drang in Vietnam. U.S. forces found themselves in a real close-quarters fight, outnumbered. Understanding the dynamics of that close-in fight, using air power, maneuvering effectively, that was crucial.
Intense stuff. But you can't win a fight if you don't have the ammo and the beans to keep you going. Which brings us to the support area. What's going on behind the lines to keep those operations running?
It's all about logistics in the support area. It's your lifeline. Supplies are brought in, equipment's maintained, troops get rest, regroup, get ready for deployment. It's the engine room, making sure everything keeps moving to the front.
So if the close area is the tip of the spear, the support area is what? The forge, keeping it sharp?
You got it. Keeps that spear sharp and ready to go. Then, once you've achieved those objectives in the close area, you move into the consolidation area.
Secure the win, make sure it lasts.
That's it. Establish a secure perimeter, get those essential services back up and running, start setting the conditions for things to stabilize. Think about what happens after a hurricane, right?
Hmm.
The consolidation area is where you bring in aid, restore order, and begin rebuilding.
Each of these areas has a unique role to play, but it's all about them working together, right?
100%. A successful operation means a smooth handoff between these areas, a synchronization between shaping the battlefield, then that engagement with the enemy, providing that critical support, and then consolidating those hard-won games.
And this leads us to another core concept: decisive, shaping, and sustaining operations. Are we talking about different types of operations within those areas we just talked about?
You can think of them as tools you use within those areas. Your decisive operations, that's your knockout punch. They directly achieve the main objective. Shaping operations set the conditions, make it favorable for those decisive actions to land. And sustaining operations, well, they provide that essential support to make sure the entire operation can keep running.
So it's about recognizing which type of operation is needed, when, and where. Can you give us an example of how these might work together?
Okay, picture a major offensive. Your decisive operation could be a direct assault on a key enemy stronghold. Now, your shaping operations, those might involve disrupting enemy comms, maybe taking out their artillery positions, isolating that stronghold, all happening while your sustaining operations are making sure your troops have the ammo, the fuel, the medical support they need to keep pushing forward.
It's like a perfectly synchronized dance, everything working in concert.
Exactly.
And speaking of synchronization, ADP 3.0 talks about main and supporting efforts. How does a commander figure out which of those efforts should get priority?
You've got to figure out which task, if you accomplish it, will have the biggest impact on achieving the mission, right? That becomes your main effort. That's your priority.
So it's not about just going after the biggest target on the map.
Not always. It's about pinpointing that linchpin, that objective that if you achieve it, it creates that domino effect and the rest will fall into place. It might be a piece of terrain, a vital enemy unit, maybe even a critical supply route.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, how all these pieces connect. But I think sometimes people hear supporting effort and they think less important. But I imagine that's a pretty dangerous way of thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Supporting efforts are critical. They're what create those conditions where your main effort can succeed. Let's take the Normandy landings.
Hmm.
Huge operation, right? The Allied invasion, that was the main effort, no question. But it wouldn't have happened without an incredibly well-executed supporting effort. Operation Fortitude.
Ah, the grand deception. Making the Germans think the main invasion was coming at Calais, not Normandy.
You got it. By diverting German troops, resources, away from the real landing sites, Operation Fortitude was absolutely essential to D-Day's success.
And history's full of those examples. A well-supported main effort can be the difference maker. But we both know that even with the best plan, things rarely go perfectly on the battlefield.
That's where the idea of positions of relative advantage comes in.
Sounds like something straight out of Sun Tzu's playbook. What does that mean exactly?
It's about constantly assessing the situation, being adaptable. You exploit those opportunities that pop up, maneuver your forces to gain an advantage, even if it's just temporary. It's about agility, seizing the initiative whenever you can.
So you're always looking for that opening, that chance to exploit a weakness and press your advantage.
Think about a boxer, right? They're always moving, feinting, looking for an opening, waiting for the right moment to strike. A position of relative advantage, it's about creating that opportunity, that chance to deliver a decisive blow.
And ADP 3.0 emphasizes maneuver as a key part of achieving those positions, right?
Absolutely. Maneuver, it's not just about moving from point A to point B. It's about movement, but in conjunction with fires. You're using your mobility, your firepower, and it all has to be coordinated to outmaneuver, to outgun the enemy.
So it's a dangerous dance, a deadly ballet.
That's a great way to put it. And like any good dance, timing is everything. Strike at the right moment, with the right force, in the right place.
Now, we can't talk about modern warfare without talking about integration. We're rarely operating in a vacuum these days, are we?
Very true. Modern warfare, you're often working with allies, with partners. Could be other branches of the military, even other countries. ADP 3.0 really stresses how important that seamless coordination is. Clear communication with those unified action partners.
Because you're only as strong as your weakest link, and a lot of times that weakness can be a lack of coordination or just not understanding each other's capabilities.
Exactly. Integration is about maximizing everyone's strengths, right? You fill in the gaps, present a united front.
It's that 1 + 1 = 3 kind of situation.
You got it. Now, another concept you see in ADP 3.0 is continuity.
Keeping the momentum going, especially when things get tough.
That's it. It's about pushing through those challenges, adapting to the unexpected, but never losing sight of what you're ultimately trying to achieve.
Because we all know, even the best plan can fall apart in the heat of the moment. How does ADP 3.0 help commanders maintain that continuity when the situation is changing by the second?
It encourages commanders to have what we call branches and sequels, contingency plans.
So if plan A goes out the window, you've got plan B, C, and D ready to go.
Precisely. Having those branches and sequels ready to go lets commanders react quickly when something unexpected pops up. But they can do it without losing focus on that bigger picture.
It all comes back to adaptability. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but I have a feeling this is just scratching the surface of ADP 3.0, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's a dense document packed with information.
Yeah.
But it's not about memorizing every single word.
It's about understanding the why behind the what, internalizing those core principles, developing that commander's mindset.
Exactly. It's about thinking critically about challenges, about how to apply those principles in different situations. You've got to be able to adapt to a constantly changing environment.
Turning that knowledge into wisdom. And it's that wisdom that leads to better decisions, to more effective leadership on the ground.
And remember, ADP 3.0, it's not static. It's always evolving, always being updated based on what we learned from real-world operations. So it's not a read it once and you're done kind of deal. You've got to keep coming back to it. Make it a part of your development. Really let those principles sink in.
Stay curious, stay engaged, keep asking those what-if questions.
Well, folks, there you have it. Our deep dive into ADP 3.0. Hopefully this has given you a good understanding of just how important this doctrine really is.
It's more than just a set of rules. It's that foundation for success, that roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern military operations.
So keep learning, keep applying, keep striving for excellence out there.
Until next time, stay frosty.